everybody, welcome to another month of Vine Path. My name is Mariana. I am the wine buyer here at Baco's Wine and Cheese, and Vine Path is a wine club in which every month there's a theme and I pick 3 to 5 wines surrounding a topic. This month we're exploring 2 grapes, and in one version we explore what it's like in its home region, and in the other we explore what it's like in Oregon, in the Eola-Amity hills. So let's try. So the winery we're comparing the grapes to are from Liska. Liska is a winery that was started just a few years ago in 2021. It's a husband and wife team, Chris and Draga, and they met in wine school at UC Davis, and they travel the world learning how to make wine. They're a very artistic, fun, vibrant young couple, and they decided that it was time that they wanted to make their own wines, and they settled in the Eola-Amity hills right in Willamette Valley in Oregon. The artwork on the bottles are absolutely beautiful. Draga is quite an artist. She's really into printmaking, so she adds a lot of the fauna and flora, and just depending on what wine, she designs a very nature-driven label. So up first, we're going to explore the grape of Grüner Veltliner. Grüner Veltliner, I think, is one of my favorite white grapes. It's the most popular widely grown grape in Austria. For many years, it was seen as a very simple, kind of one-note grape. There was quite a trend before the 90s of making Grüner Veltliner in stainless steel, and that's a fine way to make it, but it does give it kind of a more like one-note, straightforward expression. In the early 90s, Fred Loimer, who is the winemaker behind the first white we're going to try. He's located in the Kamptal region. That's in the town of Langenlois, and that's very close to the Kamp River. He decided to start aging his Grüner Veltliner in big wooden barrels. A lot of people thought he was crazy, but just the little introduction of oxygen while the wine is aging just really opens it up, and it allows like the fun, more spice tones to come out of the grape. So we're trying the Lois Grüner Veltliner from 2022. This one he actually does make in stainless steel. This is a more entry-level wine of Fred Loimer. His profile is always very beautiful wines. He really shows the minerality in the wines in this region, and this is an example. I'm getting dried pineapple, whetstone, slight ginger snap in the back, but very fragrant and clean wine. Fred Loimer has been a biodynamic winery since 2006, and he's all about just adding more biodiversity to his land. Oh my goodness, the real high acid mixed with just more of that like slight tropical but spicy tones. This is a very pretty wine. I would have this. I was thinking something more like Thai food, like a green papaya salad, but on his website, Fred actually recommends this wine with some Wiener Schnitzel. So sometimes it's nice to add this type of wine to other like green, crisp things, but sometimes it's nice to contrast it with something fatty like Wiener Schnitzel, especially if you squeeze that lemon that it usually comes with. I think this would be a fantastic pairing. Now let's compare that to the Liska Grüner Veltliner from 2022. They do not make a lot of this wine, unfortunately. I smelled it and immediately fell in love with it. I feel like it has a lot of the typical things you find in Grüner Veltliner, that those green aromatics. I almost get like banana notes, like underripe banana, chamomile, and again with a ton of minerality, but this is a little different. This wine feels a little weightier. In this winemaking, they did ferment this in barrels, so it did get a little more oxygen, and so the wine isn't as lean and clean as the last wine we just had. This wine has a little more oomph to it, but I still get very like elegant chamomile notes. They aged this for 10 months in neutral barrel. I would have this with a sugar snap pea salad, something very like crunchy and fresh. And let me just say, there are not a lot of Grüner Veltliners from Oregon, so it is a real treat to try this grape in this part of the world. Okay, so now we're gonna try the Liska Gamay. This one's from the Bjornson Vineyard, so they do make 2 different kinds of Gamay, but this vineyard, also in the Eola-Amity hills, is all volcanic soil. So they also do whole clusters, about 66% whole cluster fermentation, meaning that they just take the whole bunches and add that to fermentation, so the stems are a part of that process, and that gives it more structure, more spice, more woodsy character without necessarily being like oaky. And this just smells like boozy cherries, raspberry. Again, keep in mind the artwork is definitely meant to emulate sort of what you're smelling and tasting. So there's like berries and leaves, and I definitely get that. Really fun palate. There's like this Jolly Rancher hard candy element to it, but then it's backed up by so much more savoriness, and there's a touch of tannin. It's not too heavy, but really satisfying. If I tried this, I would think it was a Beaujolais, so from France, which we're going to try next. But there's something that is still New World, and that's why I really like Oregon, because I feel like it takes a lot of positive components from the New World, meaning more ripe, bright fruit, but it still has a more savoriness and earthiness that people that like Old World wines really like. So it's a good in-between. I would bring this out in taco night. I think it would do really well with pork, chicken, beef, mushroom tacos, especially in a corn tortilla. Up next, we're doing Domaine Les Garçons. They're Brouilly. So now we're in Beaujolais, that home of the grape Gamay. Brouilly is one of the 10 crus of Beaujolais. It's in the southernmost part. And Les Garçons was actually started just in 2020. It's two friends, Loic and Fabian. They're friends. They took over Loic's family vineyards. They're about 45 years old. Even though their concept and winery is newer, there's a lot of history in this area. They are a biodynamic winery. They're also using whole cluster, just like in the Liska wine. So meaning, again, they add the whole bunches of grapes into the vat when they're fermenting. It's about 75% whole cluster. Half of the wine they age in barrels, and half of the wine they age in stainless steel. And I think that's a happy medium for wanting to conserve the fresh, bright fruit, but also wanting to bring out spicier elements of the wine. So I'm getting a little more like medicinal notes here. So you're still getting the bright red berries. It's definitely Beaujolais, but there's something a little more like anise or almost like root beer. Now this wine has a lot more structure than the Liska. This is a little grittier, the tannins are a little more present, but still has that beautiful acidity that Beaujolais usually have, making them a great summer red. You can definitely put a light chill on either of these reds. I think this is the ideal grill night wine. So you've got a bunch of, whether it be steaks or portobello mushrooms, maybe even some hot dogs, whatever you throw on the grill, I think this wine would bring you through the whole meal. If you bring it to a cookout, it's the type of thing that somebody that likes complex wine would be really happy about, but somebody that doesn't care necessarily would still just happily drink this, because it's just a balanced, peppy wine. Thank you so much for joining us this month. I hope you enjoyed comparing these wines from their home base to how a young, adventurous couple is making it in Oregon in the Willamette Valley. I think they're adding their own spin on it while still conserving the integrity of the grape, which I love. Thank you so much, and until next time, cheers.